Combate America fans, look who I got in the house today. Yeah, that's right, over here. The one and only, the UFC Hall of Famer, the legend, the MMA pioneer, the Huntington Beach bad boy, Tito Ortiz, and you are less than a week away from the fight, so thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Of course, Susan. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
You are the best, Tito. All right, this is a fight, but you fought so many lessons, Tito. How is this fight different from some of the other fights you fought before?
Well, I think there's a little bit more on the line for me. You know, I'm willing to give up one of my light heavyweight world title belts, and at the same time, I just feel challenged. I feel challenged by Alberto. He wanted to fight me. It wasn't like I called him out. He wanted to fight me, so he believes in himself. So a guy who has confidence like that, I got to take it seriously. And I have over the last 19 weeks. I put in the camp like I did for the Chuck Liddell fight, and people saw how that fight turned out. But it's just I'm confident, I'm in shape, and I want to get my hand raised, and I love to compete. So Combate Americas gave me the opportunity on Saturday night, December 7th, to fight against Alberto El Patron, who's a former WWE heavyweight champion, but people don't think of him just as a wrestler, of having a mixed martial art record of 9-5, and being a Greco-Roman Pan Am medalist. Right. He's a tough guy, and with these small gloves we fight in, 4-ounce gloves, one punch can end a fight quick. So I got to fight smart, I got to fight fast, I got to be first, and beat them to the punch. And I think that's what's going to come down to is be the faster fighter.
It's funny you mentioned your training camp, because I actually pulled a video of you at the 10-week mark where you say from Instagram that you have put into training camp, and I quote, like no other. Talk to me specifically about any particular training drills you did or something that you had to do differently in order to prepare for Alberto El Patron.
A lot of it had to do with wrestling. I wrestled with the college kids that, where I started in junior college, going back and wrestle with kids who are 20, 21, 22, 23 years old. It made a difference, because it made me hungry. It made me want to get back and scrap and go on takedowns and top and bottom position, but then doing the jiu-jitsu of not being held down, because that's Alberto's chances to hold me down, take me down. So I got to defend the takedowns. And if he does get a takedown on me, is look for the submissions. If I can't get the submissions, I look to stand up. But these are the things that I've added to my camp of just being in great shape. I'm doing 19-mile bike rides with in between the 9 miles. I do flights of stairs. I do 30 flights of stairs up and down, and I'm sprinting up and jogging down, sprinting up and jogging down. And of course, the sparring and the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu, the weight training every night. I mean, these are 3 sessions a day, 6 days a week, and I'm just grinding at it. And for 19 weeks, this is the longest camp of my career, and that's how much this fight really, really means to me. It's just not something I'm here to make some money, and I'm here to put on a show. I'm here to show what Tito Ortiz is about, that I've been doing over the last 22 years.
You spoke in a few interviews about how you posted a video on IG saying you respect him as a fighter in your IG video, Alberto El Patron. But do you respect Alberto El Patron as a person is the question.
The respect values to as a person. When I first met him, I could say yes, I respected him, but then I started seeing his politic views and the way he kind of expects our country to have open borders and so forth. I kind of lost a little respect to him, because he is an American citizen. He had to wait in line, and he had to do it the right way, the legal way, and he brought his kids here to our country for safety. He didn't bring his family here just to make more money or to be more successful. He brought him here for the safety of his children. He says he don't want his children to be kidnapped or so forth by living in Mexico. Well, I mean, why would you want open borders if you believe that? I mean, so he contradicts himself left and right. And I had seen another interview of him saying, that I don't want any Mexicans to come here from Mexico to America. I'm like, when did I ever say that? I never said that. No, what I did say, though, is I don't want criminals in this country. Yeah. And I think our President Donald Trump is doing an amazing job by trying to make sure that he battles for our people of making it a safe country, of building the border. And it's important, and at the end of the day, I'm an American, and I want this country to be safe as it always has been safe.
There's so much at stake here. I have to ask you, because I'm nervous for the fight for both parties involved. Are you crazy to even dream or think about giving up your title? I mean, how does that play into your mind mentally? This is really a huge, huge deal.
Well, that's why I did it. That's why I want to put it up for grabs, to make me want this fight that much more, make me want that bad. And him having a heavyweight championship belt, I've always wanted a WWE heavyweight championship belt. I've always wanted to be a WWE wrestler. So there's an opportunity that I could go, let's put it up for grabs, and winner takes all. My kids are huge WWE fans, as I am myself, but I've always wanted a heavyweight championship belt. And a lot of fans are saying, oh, yeah, that's a fake belt, fake strap. No, it's not. I actually felt it, and I seen it in person. That's a real belt. It's heavy, it's legit, and it has a lot of heritage behind it and history behind it, excuse me. But I really just I would love to have it, and I want it, and I don't want to lose my belt. And on Saturday night, I'm gonna have to prove that. And I'm gonna prove I'm the better fighter, the faster fighter, the stronger fighter, and put on a show for all the fans.
I'm going to read you a quote from another MMA legend, Ken Shamrock. And this quote is courtesy of an interview from Wrestling World. Ken says this about you, Tito. Tito is a phenomenal fighter. He's kind of like Tom Brady, and that you can't bet against him no matter how old he gets. He's taking care of his body, and his style warrants him for being able to go for longer periods of time because he doesn't stand and bang with people. He gets them to the ground and grounds and pounds them and doesn't do a whole lot of damage to his body. Were you surprised by the support you received from Ken Shamrock?
Not really surprised, because me and Ken, we actually get along now. We battled it out in the octagon. But I thank you, Ken. That's a huge respect value from him. I mean, it's an honor to hear that from his words. To be considered like a Tom Brady. Yeah, I am an older man, but I have taken care of my body. I've been through a lot, but my kids is what keep me young. And I really just, my training camp of being able to put the work in that I do and taking the time off I need to take when I need to take the time off to recover, it helps. But of course, working at Ascent Adaptation in Newport Beach, doing an altitude simulation machine, that helps out a lot, reproducing red blood cells. And last camp that I added onto my camp is a hyperbaric chamber that compresses all these red blood cells to reproduce white blood cells. So nowadays we could use all this technology and this all this scientific stuff just to make me a better fighter. And I love it because I'm able to push myself in training like I've never had before. And thank God, after all the surgeries I've had, to continue on. And I want all the people who fans or fighters or anybody to know, once you get through surgeries, that's just not the end of the road for you. There's a lot of hope and prayers that can make things happen, and being recovered through your injuries or surgeries, it's possible. Anything's possible in this world nowadays.
Good advice, and I think so needed, because so many people have injuries and they give up. So thank you for sharing that with us. Tito, will you be doing more fights with Combate, do you think, moving forward?
Yes, I will be. I have one more fight with Combate, and I'll just continue on being their ambassador and just helping the young fighters that are the up-and-comers to be the next Tito Ortizes.
Did you ever think, as a fighter that's been in the industry so long, that you would even have a chance to see a promotion like Combate Americas? Hello, shout out Campbell McLaren. We love you, big boss, the El Capitan. Fans, if you don't know, he's the one that started Combate Americas. Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that there would be a promotion just for Hispanics, just for Latinos, just for combat?
I always thought that. I thought UFC would pick up that ball, but they dropped the ball by doing that. And about 7 years ago, I ran into to Campbell, and he started this program, this organization, and I was like, man, I think you got something here. I think you're going to be really, really successful. Well, 7 years later, all of a sudden, I'm sitting at a luncheon with him, and he's like, Tito, we got an opponent for you. We want you to fight for us. So I was like, this is actually perfect time. I want to come back. I want to fight. And they gave me the opponent, said he wanted to fight me, and it was Alberto El Patron. And I was like, it's just crazy how life turns and it comes full circle. And we have an opportunity now. I was with UFC when they first got bought for $2.5 million. And, what was it? Almost 16 years later, they sell it for $4.5 billion. So my goal is to make Combate America the same type of business. And I'm going to help, as I did with UFC over 16 years I was with them. So I plan on doing the same thing here with Combate. Compete for a couple times, but be an ambassador and come in on the business side just to help out and, give these fighters a grandstand or a stage to compete at, to show all the fighters or show all the fans who they truly are.
Switching gears a little bit, I see on your IG last night that you posted a video about your recent upcoming movie called Trauma Center Movie. We have to talk about that.
Yes, it comes out on Friday, December 6th. Trauma Center. Star Nikki Whalen and Bruce Willis, Texas Battle, and myself. Texas Battle, who's my partner in the film. I play Pierce, an officer who doesn't make enough money and kind of becomes a bad cop. And I play a good villain, I guess. And I chase this girl around the hospital, and we go back and forth. It's a cat and mouse chase thing, and it's a good story. It's fun. It was exciting. I learned a lot from the film. Nikki Whalen, a beautiful girl, very amazing actress, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun to do the film, and it comes out this Friday.
Awesome. We're looking forward to seeing that. Congratulations to you and Amber, shout out to Amber. We love you, Amber,
yes.
On raising such fine young men. And really, I think that's the word that we can call them now, because as I recall, they're getting up there. Each time I talk to you, they're getting older. What has the hardest part about being a parent been for you, Tito?
I think the hardest part is making sure my children understand to be accountable for their actions. Accountability is very huge, and education is trying to make sure that they read every day. They read 5 days a week, an hour a day, and not just read books with pictures in it, but read chapter books. And education is huge. I was never pushed upon that when I was growing up as a kid. They just wanted me to make sure I went to school. That's what my mom always said, just make sure you go to school. But with me, is a huge difference. I take time, and Amber also helping, and she's an amazing mother to my children, is just really sitting down and taking time with them and being present, being a present parent. It's difficult to be a parent, and parents need to understand that. What's easy is to hand your kid an iPad or an iPhone and just give them to your nannies and so forth, and just do the work you did and just support them. But there needs to be time for family time. And my kids don't have cell phones. They don't have an iPad. When it's dinner time, we sit down at the dinner table and we turn the TV off and we ask questions about how their day was and make it about a family. And that's what's important, because I never had that. And as a kid growing up, I've always wanted that. And I'm able to do that. So, have the accountability for my children as they grow older. When they become in high school, they'll know what college they're going to. When they graduate high school, they'll be in college. And when they become men, I want to be successful men to give back to society. And that's what I'm trying to raise as men. I'm not raising boys. I'm not raising kids who just are entitled to what they think they're entitled for, but to work hard as an American human on this earth. And that's what I'm making right now as men.
What a great philosophy, and I applaud you for that. Last time we spoke, one of the boys was interested in MMA. Is he still doing MMA?
Well, actually, all three of the boys, they wrestle. Jacob, my oldest, who's 17, he wrestles in Arizona with my ex-wife. They live in Arizona. But my twin boys, they wrestled from 4 years old up to 9 years old. And then just last year, we put them in jiu-jitsu at the UFC gym in Huntington Beach. So they are gray belts in jiu-jitsu now. They actually just got their 6th stripe. So they're about ready to rank up on their belt. And it's just exciting because it teaches them discipline. It teaches them hard work. They carry themselves with a lot more respect. And they learn that from wrestling. But with jiu-jitsu, it's a little bit different game, because when there's kids who are white belts that come in who don't know as much as they do, they're willing to help them out and take the time and teach them the things that they've learned. So, I'm already making little coaches out of them, and not only just great wrestlers, but great jiu-jitsu artists themselves. And it teaches a lot of confidence for a kid to put them in martial arts. And I'm glad for the jiu-jitsu at UFC gym in Huntington Beach to give us this opportunity for my children.
So true. Martial arts is such an important sport. And one of the reasons why I like mixed martial arts, or any martial art form, especially mixed martial arts, and one of the reasons why I actually decided to start reporting on it, was I was impressed with the fact that there's a color, a shape, a creed, a size, a hairdo. There's a fighter for every person. And I think it's so good, because we've got so much social media bullying going on, and some kids are being bullied on the internet, but others are still being bullied at school. So it's not only from a protection standpoint, but it builds self-esteem and confidence. And I love the fact that it crosses all race, religions, and genders, and I think that's terrific. So Tito, I got to ask you, what's the latest with training for Logan Paul?
Well, Logan Paul, I seen him at one night, the red carpet from Sylvester Stallone. It was Ruiz. That's be fighting actually on the same night that I'll be fighting on, and it was the last fight they had, AJ and Ruiz, the heavyweight champions of boxing, and I watched Logan Paul box, and I asked him, I was like, I heard people saying that he wanted to get an MMA. I was like, yeah, and I think I could help you out on some of your MMA stuff. I mean, he's a bigger guy. I mean,
he is
around about 6'1", 6'2", and he's like, I was a high school wrestler. I was a state champ in Ohio, and I was like, really? You ever thought about getting MMA? He goes, yeah, I think it would be fun. So, the kind of giving it to him and putting this in his hands and seeing what he wants to do with his future. But I would like to push the guy, see how far he can get in the sport of mixed martial arts. And not knowing, all the fans, please listen, it's not all of a sudden get him into the UFC and he's been fighting the UFC. No. Let's start him small. Let's get him some amateur fights. Let's build him the right way. But he has such a huge fan following. I seen what he did with his boxing. To sell at the Staples Center is amazing. To see the buy rates they got on DAZN was amazing. But let's see him and get him in mixed martial arts and possibly get him in Combate and get him an opponent that he would fare well against, that has the same, the same skills that he has. And maybe I could be able to add some of those skills to him. So it kind of stands there. I put the ball in his corner, and I'm reachable, and he has my number, and we text back and forth. But we'll see what the future holds for Logan Paul.
I hope he has an opportunity to train with you. Your team and your camp is one of a kind for sure. I have one final question for you, and it's a hypothetical one because I don't even want to consider the thought of Tito Ortiz retiring, because you make all of us proud and excited, as you were talking in the interview earlier about how you can just keep on cooking. And I saw some videos on IG last night where you were just pounding into the ground, and you were just so mentally focused. But hypothetically, 30 years from now, okay, we're going to say 30 years from now, Tito Ortiz finally decides to retire. Tito,
30 years. I'll cut you off right there, because it'll be less than 5 years. That's for sure. It'll be the next 2 years. This business stuff is really a great opportunity for me. Campbell McLaren has given me a great opportunity to be an ambassador for Combate America. And, I want to make it into a $1 billion company. And I think that's my goal, is to make it into one of the biggest mixed martial arts companies in the world. And McLaren, he believes in me. He believes in my business moniker, and I'm very thankful for that. Joe, who is actually CEO of Combate America, he actually believes in me also. So it's nice to have business partners who believe in me and not trying to cut me down and ridicule me for who I am. I'm a person who's a hardworking American who is very dedicated to his job, and I've been dedicated to my job since day one. I've been fighting for 22 years, but to have Punishment Athletics, Primetime 360, Monetos 100, consulting firm, companies that I'm working with, and I continue to work with. I understand the business, and to be successful in this world, you got to be hardworking, you got to be determined. Consistency is very important, and you got to be willing to fail and learn from those failures. And I've been doing it my whole career, and I continue to learn. So I'm thankful to be where I am. So, 2 to 3 years from now, I'll be done with fighting, and I promise to my fans, and I promise to my family. I want to make the best of my life, and fighting is fun, but at the same time, it's very time consuming. It's been 19 weeks so far. And just before I left to here to New York, I talked to Amber. I said, babe, I'm kind of sick of training right now. I'm ready for this fight to be over with. Yes. She said, too. So on Saturday night, when I get my hand raised, I know I have one more fight left with Combate, but after that, it'll be up in the air. But I still want to compete these next 2 times and just get to make the best of my life, and I'm doing it so far.
How would you like to be remembered, though, Tito?
How would I like to be remembered? A hardworking fighter that was always there for the fighters, and was always willing to take bad words from other guys because I was willing to speak my mind. I've always was a very transparent person. I always said it how it was, with no matter how the repercussions were, but I always said it how it was. And I'm just a hardworking man. I'm a hardworking person. I work hard, and I do it with respect, integrity, and values, and that's what holds to my heart.
All right. Before we go today, Tito, is there anything else you want to add, sir?
No, that's it. Just all the viewers, man, please buy this pay-per-view. It's right before Christmas. I'm very thankful for my fans for the last 22 years who have been supporting me, who have backed me. I want to thank Combate. I want to thank all the crew at Combate, all the staff. Campbell McLaren. It's just been amazing ride. I just wanted to say thank you to my fans. Watch this pay-per-view. I guarantee I'm not going to let you down. I'm going to put on a show. And Alberto Del Rio, he don't know what he got himself into. It's going to be a good fight. I'm excited. Like I say, he made me concerned of the fact that he's in shape. He's ready to fight. So it should be a great fight.
I think it's going to be an amazing fight, a legacy fight for both of you. All right, fight fans, you can catch Combate Americas, Tito versus Alberto. What side are you on Saturday, December 7th. The fight is available exclusively on Fight TV, and I've included my affiliate link below, so do a favor and purchase the fight if you can from me. I want to thank Tito Ortiz for his interview, and from the Spanish viewers in Combate Americas, I'm going to try and practice a little Spanish, if you don't mind. So, mucho gusto para la entrevista y buena suerte, which means thank you for your interview and good luck, Tito.
Que es todos los fans. Muchas gracias por su apoyo. Es pelea muy fuerte, pero costará ganar.